For people that have chronic pain would be taking this product for a while, and I asked if they would build up a tolerance and have to go buy more and more over time.
So, and it's a great question. So, okay, for those who behind the camera didn't hear it, and it's a brilliant question, is if I use this over time, and you know, whether I have chronic pain, insomnia, whatever, and I use this over time, over and over and over again, can I build up a tolerance to it? And the answer is absolutely, 100%. Let me ask you a question. Do you know anybody, or have you read stories in the newspaper of people that built up an opioid tolerance? Yep. It's the same thing. We have opioid receptors in our body. We have cannabinoid receptors in our body. What the salesmen will tell you is this: use more and more of it every single day for the rest of your life. That's not accurate. What we want to do is actually counterintuitive. We want to throttle back after a certain point, because you need to let your receptors drain, for lack of a better word, okay? What happens is when you use it more and more and more, your body downregulates, okay? And remember, we were talking about those endogenous cannabinoids, anandamide and 2-AG. We don't want those to downregulate. We want the production in our body to upregulate. So there comes a time in, a doctor would say, titrating the product. In other words, if I say start with a sublingual tincture, let's just say a tincture, because that's a very popular form, at 0.50 ml twice a day, and after 5 to 7 days, you're not feeling a modulation of your symptoms, you have to increase the amount. How much? We typically suggest just by another 0.25 ml. All of our droppers in our bottles are medical. I wasn't kidding when I said we look at this through a medical lens, a medical perspective. We want to be precise in measurement and dose so that people can have a repeatable, consistent experience. But getting back to that, you know, overdoing it, once you find your zone, your level, and again, that's a moving target for everybody, so it takes a little practice. What you actually want to do is start to come back down. Now with a salve, if you're rubbing something topically on your knee, that's a little bit harder to, you know, judge, because what do we just put a little bit less cream on it? This is really more for capsules, inhalation, sublingual oils under the tongue, okay? But this being said, when you find your quote-unquote zone, now you actually want to start cutting back on your dose to the point where your body says, you've just gone past a point where my symptoms that were stable are starting to degrade, right? So now what have you taught yourself? You've taught yourself your low end of the zone. And maybe where you came from, that could have been your high end of your zone, but maybe it's your middle end of your zone. You know what the only way to find out is? When you find that zone and you're really kind of feeling a modulation and a reduction of these symptoms, people say to me all the time, can good be better? You know what I say? Take more and find out. Guess what? Let's say they take more and their symptoms modulate more in the right direction. They still haven't found the upper end of their zone. So when a person can find the top range, mid-range, and low range, you will actually eventually take less as you get more proficient with using this and how your body responds to it, so that your endogenous cannabinoids don't downregulate, they upregulate and start producing more internally, so that between the support from the phytocannabinoids and the support from the endogenous cannabinoids, you are back to finding your way to equilibrium, to homeostasis as best as the body can.